Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Hey, hey, it's your boy DeMarcus, and it is a good day. But it's late in the night, though. What it do? It's the life of a multifaceted. It's your boy DeMarcus. You know how they say, DeMarcus. What's going on, man? I get a chance. What I love about this too is I get a chance to showcase my goofiness. Because for the people that know me, like I'm goofy as a mug, but I can be very serious. But I just have a very vibrant personality, but I can be able just to mesh in different type of ways. Like, who just wants to be one version? Like when it's like I'm from New Orleans, who want to be one version? You know what I'm saying? Why I want to have multiple versions of myself? But speaking of having multiple versions, today we're going to talk about unlocking ourselves in one particular area of life and how that can open up different versions of ourselves. So I'm gonna stop saying it that way, but different versions. So shout out to y'all, man. If you've been tapped in, for the people that I get a chance to meet, network with, this is your first time checking this out. Is this the life of a multifacet? This is strictly an audio podcast right now. Eventually I'll get to the point to where I do video stuff. And honestly, for me, when it comes to as far as just doing video, like it's not something I don't mind doing at all. Like I just have a lot more content that I haven't even released yet, where it is video and it's just me talking about motivation and stuff within my life. But we're definitely going to transition into video for sure, and we're going to have audio version as well. But for the time being, just keep your phone in your pocket, listen to your boy talk, and you'll be able to see other content on my other platforms where you'll be able to get you'll still be able to get a lot of versions of the multifaceted your boy DeMarcus. But today's episode, also make sure that you follow your boy on Instagram, that man Marco. My food page is matching up with Marco. My YouTube page is the multifaceted of DeMarcus, and then the TikTok pages are that man Marco and matching up with Marco as well. So content has been backlog. We got a lot of dope stuff coming, and then just prioritizing different types of things for myself. But I have a uh, a schedule where it's going to be really dope and how things are going to be aligned. So we'll keep that going. But again, shout out to y'all. If you want to be a faceteer, man, just put it in the comments. I think I want to create something where once people start to really follow and start to get more people involved, like faceteers is going to be my motto, because as a faceteer, there's different tiers and levels to this stuff. So definitely tap in with your boy, man. But for today's episode, I want to talk about the empowerment of being alone and enjoying and finding ways to evolve during that alone season, and talking about even the difficulties that come along with that. And also within the alone phases or seasons, there is some aspects of where loneliness will creep in. So we're going to kind of dive into that today. And I've talked about it a bit before, but and I just had a conversation with a friend of mine, and just kind of like sparked the conversation for tonight. And sometimes that'll happen for me, like because of my spontaneity nature. I am someone that can like schedule things out now. I've gotten better with that over time, but with my spontaneity type of nature, as I told y'all, even when it comes to the gym, there's just different ways in which I can get motivated or inspired. And sometimes it can just be something simple. It could be a 5 minute conversation. It can be something that I just seen. But learning how to act upon that has been something that has really helped me, especially during these past couple of years, as far as being able to act upon it. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to go straight into it. So when you think about as far as a lonely or a lone type of season. Oftentimes that's because things are shifting, because different areas of your life is just they're being restructured, and you may be a person that is developing, or you're trying to develop a mindset in a different type of way. And I've experienced this a few times. Like I would say, as I talked about before, kind of like my childhood going into college, or probably like a little bit before that, I just felt that without sports, things were just kind of already shifting. I felt like after college, whenever I had all my experiences and everything coming back home, and then I felt like even a couple times in New York, I would say like when I first got to New York, and then I would even say now in New York for me, it's definitely been those shifts of like alone seasons. But I will say that this alone season has been a lot different, and it's been one of my favorites by far, like one of the dopest ever, because it's not like any of the other seasons, and I'm going to explain how. So when you go through your alone seasons, again, oftentimes for some people they can kind of be forced into that, meaning that, people just do what they do. Life, some things are maybe removed from you, and you have no choice but to kind of like be forced into that. For some people, and I would say this within myself, oftentimes you can stay in certain type of spaces or certain type of environments, but you choose to remove yourself because you see that that doesn't fulfill you. Which to some people that kind of may work in with the same scenario in which I just spoke about. But I feel like when you choose to remove yourself, you're saying that, hey, at the end of the day, this is going to be very uncomfortable, but I'm allowing myself to experience something that I know is better for me. So you're really forcing yourself into the alone space because let's be real, it's easy to stay around people where you're not really growing, but to be able to have some people around you, it feels good. It's easy to do things that are of habit or to follow and do or participate in certain types of activities that you feel at the end of the day are kind of distractions, but it can be fulfilling in those moments. It's also easy to deprioritize things that you know will fulfill you, but you're deciding to put other things in front of that. Like those things are easy to do. And oftentimes, like there's other things in life that can feel fulfilling in the moment, but oftentimes they can be short term. Let's say, for instance, going out. Like I love going out. I love having a great time. I love being outside, but I'm not someone that wants to go to club parties all the time. Like me going out, I can go out in nature. I'm someone that loves to go to different types of events and meet people, festivals. Like I love being out, but like just going to party and drink all the time, that's not really my vibe. And oftentimes, many people will say that it's like, oh, I'm not the type to sit there and do that. It's like at the end of the day, like there's nothing wrong with going out there and having fun, having a ball. But some people, I think that they'll say it in a way where it's just like, man, I'm past that. I'm better than that. But I don't really think there's a I'm better than that type of version. Like if that's what you decide not to do, great. But there's also fun and fulfillment in being able to go out and being able to enjoy yourself, listen to good music. And if you want to drink or smoke, like I do, from time to time, like that feel good when you're able just to be able to celebrate life. And I think the more that you find a reason to go out because of a celebration of life, because of an accomplishment that you've had, versus just partying the party, it makes it feel more fulfilling. And so I think that I've noticed more people that they were doing it out of habit or just doing it just because I don't know, they were trying to find something to do, and that's the only thing like where people around them were kind of like steering them in that direction. But that hasn't been me. Like I'm the type to where I've told people like, hey, I don't feel like going out this weekend. Oh man, Demarcus, you should come out. Nah, bro, I'm cool off that. And by being able to have that balance, it's allowed me to still enjoy different aspects of life without feeling that it's a chore. And there's other examples of life as well too, where things that I like to do and stuff like that. But getting back to the whole point of the conversation, in your kind of like alone time, um, especially like when you're taking control of your life, you're pushing yourself into that alone space. And again, that's very uncomfortable because you're saying, you know what? I know that I have fun over here with this. I know this can be fulfilling over here sometimes, but long term, it's not going to do anything for me. And that's hard to do because when something seems so comfortable and when people or when situations with when expectations, when all that just feels so at home, it almost feels as if like your mind is telling you that you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like going on a diet. Like you've been eating all this food and you know that it tastes good. You know I can go get fast food whenever I want to, but for you to go on a diet, your body is saying, "Bro, are you crazy? Like we've been so used to this. Now you're gonna go ahead and stop what you was doing. Like you gonna stop eating the sugar heavy. Like that dopamine was making us feel good. But you saying, you know what? I know it feel good in the moment, but long term, I can't keep up with this because of health wise. Long term, like I know it's making me feel sluggish and stuff. Now I don't want to feel like that. Like I got to be able to change those things, and that's where the alone season teaches you. It teaches you to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. It teaches you to say, you know what, the short term is cool, but I know that long term, the things that I'm working on now will make the short term feel like it ain't shit. The long term will make it feel like life is so grand and dope to where the short term can't even keep up. And that's what it's been like for me in my alone seasons where If it's just removing myself from certain people, if it's been shifting the way in which I had conversations, shifting the way in which I go about my day to day. Like it's allowed me to be in control because then I'm not depending on other people. I'm not depending on someone telling me that this is going to be so dope and it's making me have FOMO. No, because if I want to show up for that, I'm going to show up. If I don't, cool. But I've also got to make sure that I'm prioritizing myself because that's what happens when we don't prioritize ourselves. We don't have anything to look forward to as far as within our own value, what we're creating. We look at all these other things on the outside to find that fulfillment. And many times that's why the short term can feel so good, but over time, that's when people start to feel depressed. They start to feel anxious. They start to feel super down on themselves because at the end of the day, you were trying to look for all these other things outside of you to make you feel happy, to make you feel wanted, to make you feel appreciated. But again, if you're already doing that for yourself, making yourself feel wanted, appreciated, and just making yourself feel happy, the other things are just an extension. That's like, if you're going out and getting lit, it's different if you're doing it all the time. But if you're like, hey, I'm going out and I want to have a good time because of something I'm celebrating, that's going to enhance that. Some people can say, hey, I don't need to go out and do that. I can still go out and do it sober. Great. But sometimes you may want to extend that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But when it becomes the core thing that you have to have and it takes you away from who you are and what you're building, then that's where an issue comes into play. But the alone season is one to where when you're really working on yourself, you start to just see like how happy life can be with the simple things. And I'll say, and I may do another episode on this, kind of explaining my past season, but I think I've told y'all about that in the other episodes. But for me in this season has been so fun because it's one where I haven't even went out and partied a lot or um, mainly I would say it's more so where I haven't been around people on a consistent basis. So it's more so me like choosing where I want to go, more so me choosing my vibes, and more so me being a director of what I want to do. So in this season that I've been in, like I talked about, as far as like some friendships and stuff like that, things have changed. Some conversations I've had with certain folks, some I haven't, but because I've seen repeated cycles over time, and because I've had to repeat myself multiple times, and because I've showed up in certain type of ways, that gets exhausting. So you get to a point to where when you know how you show up, and when your value is on a different type of level, and it's not you just saying that, like so many people confirm that and they're the ones that tell you that, then you're like, man, you know what? I feel like I've been going out of my way for so long. It's not even just a feeling in the moment. You know this, but sometimes you may need a confirmation or you may receive a confirmation that's just like, man, when are you going to put time into yourself? And for me, over time, I've steadily gotten away from that because I would notice those patterns. But I've been in a season now where it's just like, no, like people can take time to pour into the markets. And more importantly, the people that do value me for real, they've even let me know that. They've even said, hey, DeMarcus, like I noticed that you're the one that reaches out more than everyone else. You're the one that's done this. Hey, I noticed that about you. I noticed that I haven't done this as much. So I just want to let you know that I see that. Bro, that's dope because sometimes when you're the person that's always showing up for everybody else, oftentimes people don't see it. Oftentimes when you're going out of your way to make sure everybody else is good and making sure that you're thinking ahead for them and you're looking at, oftentimes people don't see that. So the ones that do, that makes you feel good because you're like, wow, maybe I'm not on this island by myself. Maybe I'm not um being as misunderstood. I can still be misunderstood, but maybe I'm not being as misrepresented or misunderstood as I thought. And those type of things make you feel valued even more. Like you want to find the value within yourself. You want to find yourself valuable, but being valued and being appreciated, that's something that's different. And many people in the world don't feel that way. I'm someone for a good amount of time where I struggled with that. I didn't feel like that. But over time, as I continue to take action for myself, as I continue to put me out there and continue to align things up in a way that allow me to be happy, it made that be so much easier because I didn't have the expectations for other people. Now, when it comes to expectations, you should have some of those. Like if people are going to act certain ways towards you and then change up when it comes to other people, or if people have these, they're expecting you to reach out and vice versa, or people are going out of their way to be able to show love and support for everybody else, but they're not doing it for you because they're assuming that you're always going to be good. That's bullshit. And oftentimes people want to conflate like, oh man, you can't go out here and expect people to do all this and that. And people got their own lives going on. People always want to create these bullshit ass excuses. But at the end of the day, patterns. The word patterns has been showing up for me a lot. And it's a very, very simple term. But patterns show up for people. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. People can't keep up with their BS because the patterns show. And when you're able to see how one thing is flowing, oftentimes that's going to show up in another area in your life and in somebody else's life. So when you think about as far as your alone space, if you're someone that's removed yourself because of how people weren't showing up, you're most likely feeling like that because of a pattern. It could be a pattern with multiple people. It could be in the way in which you went out of your way to do small things. It could be the way in which you're even reaching out. But you're going to get to a breaking point because you've seen something be consistent over time. And what kind of creeps in is that, oh man, this person reaches out one time, and this person says, "Hey man, it's all love. I love you." Or you got a friend that's like, "Hey man, you know how we rocking." But those small bits of like love and that dopamine effect can make you feel as if like, oh man, everything's wiped away. But that's your mind tricking you to say, you know what, like, man, don't put too much time and focus on that because it ain't really as harsh as you trying to make. No, people know what they're doing, and people have ways of being able to find those small crevices in a situation, and they know how to be able to plug and play whenever it's convenient for them. But the thing is that when I talk about these patterns, over time, people start to miss the small details. If somebody was going to get into those small crevices and then they show up from time to time, that's because you know that their schedule's busy. There may be someone that where they communicate. They're like, hey, I just got too much going on, so I can show up from time to time. But like, you're gonna know that they're that type of friend because it's consistent. But when somebody's like, hey, I'm gonna show up here, and then they don't show up for a good amount of time, and then they choose and they're wishy washy, that's a pattern there. And so at the end of the day, you know that this person is not reliable, but the other person, you know they're reliable because they've always shown up like that. So you can't even expect them to do too much more because that's how they've always shown up. But some people, they want to try to be sneaky. They want to try to move in ways where they want to try to not, um, they want to try to play victim, but in reality, you're going to catch up to that. People aren't dumb. And so for me, when it comes to as far as for that alone phase, that's why certain aspects of my life, it's important for me to be able to remove myself because things show up over time. And then again, it's giving me my energy and stuff back. I poured into people so much. I've been able to give so much, but oftentimes I realized I was not giving enough to myself. And so for me, when it comes to during this season, going to a ton of events by myself, pulling up to different concerts, like bro, I've done so much. You know what I'm saying? You're dating, and you know what I'm saying? Woman's willing to take care of this and that, like going on a trip, woman's like, hey, I got it. Like I've had those experiences, but and I've had those experiences before. But the point that I'm saying is that it feels good when you're appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Like when people was just like, hey, DeMarcus, you know what? I thought about you today. This is something that I think could be, really good for you. That feels dope. But because you've taken a step back and you've allowed other people to show up, it's like shit. It feels good as a mug. So for my loan season, it's been a lot of me um taking a step back again from friendships, um, dating and stuff like that. It's also been, a big part of me like learning to be organized. So creating a calendar, a schedule for myself and really working through that. It's been me truly focusing on my hobbies and things that make me happy. It's been me being able to give myself a voice with my podcast and stuff like that. Losing the weight, that was probably one of the biggest things because um, that allowed me to work on a different level of discipline that I've been trying to reach for a good period of time and consistency. And that's something that I truly needed, honestly, for myself. The mashups that I was doing, I did a bunch of those. I did like 60 plus mashups about a year and some change ago, but still over time, I've been consistent with me posting on my stories and stuff like that. I haven't had, mashups being able to come out consistently as I did because of financial reasons, but at the same time, I've still been consistent with recording content and getting things out there to where I'm still being able to build up. People still know like DeMarcus, he does food. Like, he creates dope stuff. So All those things are stuff that I've been able to focus on in this quote unquote alone season. Now, where it can get lonely or has been lonely at times is where you can feel on that island by yourself. You can feel as if like, man, I'm going through this, and then I don't know if anybody can really relate. Like people may be able to relate to a good amount, 90%, but the other 10% I'm kind of on my own. But you realize that at the end of the day, everybody can't figure everything out for you. So you're gonna have some lonely moments. But honestly, if I'm being completely real, that stuff fades away when you take the time to focus on you and you switch it to being alone. And you switch that alone time to a happy place. You switch it to a therapeutic type of place. Listen, for me, I don't have to go out to an event. I don't have to be at big conferences and stuff like that to feel that to feel as if I'm talking to people. I mean, I can go outside, I can go into nature, I can be able to see somebody in my apartment complex and go to the bodegas. Like I don't have to have continuous interaction. And I realized for myself, even with me being an ambivert but more very extrovert leaning, I realized that I was always in the presence of people, and so that's why I felt that I needed to always be around folks or something like that to be able to kind of not feel alone. But once I started to really pour into me even more, I truly tapped into like the introvert side that makes me feel so fulfilled. Like I literally have had moments where I've been into the hell, especially even before I went back home here recently. Like I might be in the crib for like a couple weeks, not going to no events or whatever. But I'm still either getting outside, I'm going to the gym, I'm recording on the podcast, I'm doing something that's fulfilling. If it's I'm praying, I'm reading books. Like I haven't hell before I read Relentless, I hadn't read a full book in probably years. Like I love reading like blogs, I love reading like articles and stuff like that. But a full book, that's the first book I finished and I don't know how long. I journal all the time. I do voice memos. Like there's so much that I do that's fulfilling within myself. And I believe I told y'all this as well. I can't focus on saying that I'm bored when I got all these things that I want to do for me or all these things that I can do for me that make me happy. So how can I be bored when I got all these different things that I can do? Now, boredom is something that can come along when you start doing, you feel like the environment that you're in is just the same thing over and over. So there are aspects of being able to feel bored within an environment. But for you to be bored because of all these other things on the outside aren't being fulfilling for you, you got to really look into the mirror and say, but what am I doing for me? Am I bored because of things aren't really going on around me? Or is it because I have not taken as much time to focus on me? Those can actually work together very, very well. So when many people say that they're bored, you ask them, hey, when's the last time you focused on that podcast that you wanted to do? When's the last time that you told people no as far as going out because you knew that vibe wasn't it? When's that last time that you actually journaled because you said that you want to be able to share your thoughts? When the last time you went to that kitchen and cooked something? When's that last time you went and just did a self photo shoot outside with just your camera and your tripod? Like you've been talking about all these things, but you ain't done nothing for yourself. And that's why during an alone season, that's where you start to find that fulfillment because everything else starts to be an extension. This season for me has been one of the most fulfilling and most happiest seasons. Financially, it's been fucked. I'm being very raw, and I'm cussing on this one because it's real. Like this one has been hard, but it's allowed me to be able to be a dog. Like I've had to go and walk multiple miles to go to a security site to get my license and go to take security classes. I've had to take the train more than ever. Like I've had to walk miles and miles throughout New York in some crazy areas to be, what I'm saying, to get work. I've had to do some odd jobs. Hell, I'm working overnight shift right now. Like I've been in the mud with it. But when I look at that experience, it's made me feel like I'm unleashing and unlocking so much of myself. Like I'm telling you, like when I got my security license in July, I said, you know what? I said, man, I gotta go and get my keloid injections, and I said, I gotta go further down Church Ave. I said, we finna walk this. Man, I walked all the way from here down to East New York and walk back, and that was just to go and do the paper. I said, man, Let me figure this out. That was just to go do the paperwork, and I walked all the way back. Then I ended up taking another walk from all the way from Flatbush down to East New York to go to my security classes. But this is the grit and stuff that you have, and this is when you know that there's something in you that just makes you feel like powerful. Because at the same time, I'm also knowing that like, hey man, I got these workouts and stuff that I've been doing. I'm trying to level myself up even better when it comes to my routine. So I said we're gonna stack something. So when you're working on developing your mentality, you look at ways in which you can stack up certain things, how you can layer certain things. Because I'm like, okay, my workout. There may be a week where I'm like my workouts and stuff have been a bit off. Okay, let me go ahead and walk 2 to 3 miles to a class or something that I'm taking, to a job, because I know at the end of the day, I'm at least gonna get 5 to 6 miles in today, and that's still my workout because I may not be able to get to the gym tomorrow. But I'm feeling beast mode. Let me go ahead and do this. Then let me go ahead and work out as well too because I'm feeling that dominant. But that's what you learn during your alone seasons. During this whole time, people have been asking, "Oh, DeMarcus, what have you done since the layoff?" Man, I've been working on my hobbies. I've been doing security work. I've been doing all different types of things. I've had to, walk from multiple places, take the train, multiple like, and I'm going to explain it even more in depth in the future podcast episode. But like, I've been like dotless for real. Like the definition of dotless has been like what this season has been for me. But you know what? When you know understand your value and when you're willing to learn how valuable that you are, all that stuff, when you look back at it, you like, wow, this is a part of my story. I was built for this. I knew that I was built for this, but I had to go through a season for me to unlock that dog in me, for me to really understand who I was, who I am, who I'm meant to be. I mean, if I was to explain to people about this type of season that I've been in, many friends and stuff like that, they'd be like, oh man, Marcus, I don't know if I can do it. Many people have already told me they wouldn't be able to survive in the way that I have. I've had to lean in on my family and stuff to be able to get me through, especially in these past months. Like before, when I was able to save money and had some severance from my last job, like I had a good amount saved, like I do well with my money. But I told y'all, like my parents and my aunt, they had to look out for me. You know what I'm saying? But like I know for a fact by them looking out for me, I said I'm gonna be applying like a mug. I'm gonna be out here finding some work. I'm gonna get it in because there's no way that I could feel good with somebody giving me something and me asking for it and me not putting in that work. So they ain't gonna be able to see it, but I've been putting in thousands of applications for jobs, 5+ thousand applications. That's from me going in and LinkedIn, easy apply, me knocking hella of those out early on before we understood how the job market and stuff was going, to me actually going in and applying for different roles online, people sending me stuff, me going to events. Like I've done it all, and it's exhausting. I felt burnt out, but I found other areas of my life to understand that how I can be able to bring things together, how that what I'm focused on and where I'm going to get to is way bigger than all this stuff. So at the end of the day, what I may have to do in the short term, that can still be fulfilling. Because also, what you learn when you're going through a loan season, you start to connect the dots. See, when you're at a point to where you get laid off or when you lose work or whatever, oftentimes when you're so used to working for other people, you're just so focused on getting the next job because you're focused on like, hey, I got to get some money. It makes sense. But also at the same time, you got to look and see when that period of life is extended, when now it goes from like it being a couple months to 6 months to a year and that, like then you like, man, I really got to figure something else out. But during that period, what you should have been doing or what you should be doing is truly working on you, connecting the dots, seeing, hey, there may be an opportunity over here that's not going to really pay me nothing. It may pay me a little bit compared to what I was getting paid before. This might not be something that I truly even thought about doing, but think about how you can connect those dots. I'm gonna give y'all my game plan right here. I said when one of my guys told me about security work, I had never thought about security work, honestly. And it's not even something that is bad by any means. Like it's something that can get you, decently paid. But I had to think about it like this. I'm glad that I was able to go through that security process and get that license. Why? Because security is not like it is not my long-term goals. But I'm like, man, look how I can add this in. I was doing so much work on learning about 1099s and the ways in which I can get extra income. And I know for a fact, as far as for my brand, my food brand, that's something that I want to take on a business level even higher. So if I can focus on that for the entrepreneurship piece, if I know that as far as my skills and with my degree, that corporate work, as far as on the tech side, is going to be like my main filler, think about this. Once I get that tech job, that's going to be the main source of income, but it's something that I'm skilled and I'm good at. I'm dope at sales. Technologically, I'm sound in different areas, but because my mind already thinks tech, like even if it doesn't, if it's not sales long term, I can work on solutions engineering. I can work on building skills to be an engineer, whatever it is. But tech, there's always going to be something there for me because naturally I'm techie. But sales has been my background, so that's the main cushion right there. Then as I'm going through that, I can work on my food brand because that will eventually be the thing that's going to oversee everything. So right there, you got a cushion as far as for the tech work. But then I got a business thing over here. So that's another 1099 that can go into my brand and who I am. Then we think about security work. It's eventually going to get to a point to where when I get my tech work or when I get a career based job, that because I have my license, I don't have to necessarily work for any type of security company. By having my license, I can do events on the side. Somebody may say, "Hey, I'm trying to, I need a unarmed security guard," or if I decide to get my armed security license, "Hey, man, I need somebody to work this event for me. It's an 8 hour event. Man, I got celebs and stuff coming through, or I got a dope event where there's going to be people that's here that's trying to um, talk about business or whatever. Hey, man, I'm willing to pay $25 to $35 for security. Well, shoot, I got my 1099. I can show up to those events and just do that, but I'm doing it on my own terms. So I'm working with this license that I have. Then I can write this off because it's a part of my 1099 business, and I got my other business. Plus, I'm working my regular jobs. That's where you got to think about it. That's where you got to connect the dots. So for me, I had to look at it as like, man, you know what? I don't really feel like doing security work versus instead of looking at it like that, I'm like, man, okay. So this job right here that I'm doing is pretty chill. Like for my last job that I was at when I was at the Burlington, I was just sitting in a chair making sure people was good. Like that was cool. I got a chance to mingle with people and everything. Getting paid like $27 an hour. This new site that I'm at, it's real chill. Like I sit in the booth, I go into the front and just chat with the other security guards, but I'm literally in a booth for 6 hours. Chilling dolo. I can work on my computer. I can work on my phone, like everything. Like I'm not even responsible for like talking to a bunch of people. I just got to make sure like homeless folks ain't on the side of the building smoking. That's all I got to do. All I got to do. So think about my mindset, and I'll talk about this in future episodes. But many people ain't going to get to this episode where I'm already spit my blueprint. And whenever I get to the point, whenever I start to really, really level up even more, I'm gonna refer people back to this episode. I think about as far as for my job. Whenever I go into any type of work, I scope out the scenery. I told myself a while back, I said that Marcus, you can't be picky about doing any type of work. You got to get it out the mud. So I knew when I was in college, after that freshman year, when I went and worked in manufacturing and was doing 80, 90 hour weeks, um, plus doing summer classes, I already knew what I was built for. I already knew it was in my nature with my parents and how they do it. I already knew that I was built for it. It's something I wanted to do, no, but I was that showed me how to be able to work hard and get what you want. So I'm thinking about now, going back to security work. I'm thinking, okay, now I see the cycle. Now I see how the day to day is. Let me take my computer into work. Let me work on whatever stuff that I need to, brand wise, editing. Like I didn't do it these last couple of days, but last week, that was my first week of the security work at this new site. I was in there on I think my third day. I had my computer in there. I was writing out stuff for my food brand. I was doing it on my phone, on my computer. I was using ChatGPT to help me to reframe things for my brand. I was in there like editing some stuff. So I'm like, okay, I got time now. So think about it. Even though I'm working overnight shift, it's 2 to 8 a.m. It's odd hours, but you got to figure out how can you connect the dots and make it work for you. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a bit uncomfortable. I can still interview for tech jobs and stuff during the day, but I just got to make it work. But think about that. I can get paid from working from 2 to 8. Hours ain't really crazy. As far as the commute, the stuff ain't really stressful. Well, let me take that back. It's an hour commute. But um, as far as for the work itself, it's not bad work. Man, let me just give you the whole rundown because I'm over here, I'm scrambling. The commute itself is about an hour commute. So I got to leave at around like 12:30, some change. And then it takes me about an hour between the Q and the J train, right? Cool. So I get to work. Once I clock in, I'm literally just in the booth cooling. So what I usually do is I got back on my thizzle. I start to walk around and make sure I'm getting my steps in like I did at my previous job. Because one, once you do something, you see the type of zone that it gets you in, you're already thinking about how can I get back into that. So I've been thinking for a minute. I said, once I get back into security work again, hopefully it's a site to where I can move around and get into my bag. So I already knew that once we get into this, yeah, it's gonna be early in the morning, but we're about to get back into that zone because that's what's helped me to continue my weight loss at my previous security job. So now I can do that. Then I'm on the site. Okay, I can chill in the booth. It's got heating. It's got heat in there, air conditioning. Shoot, we can go in here and knock out some work. Or I can go into the front where I'm chatting with the other security guard and there's plugs in there. I can knock out work. So then I'm thinking in my mind, okay, like I can go ahead and make sure, like I'm going to be a bit tired when I get home, but maybe let me try to see if I can. I'm going to keep applying for jobs and then schedule my interviews during a time of day where once I get back, I can take like an hour break, or if it's very very early, I can make sure I'm keeping myself up and still go through my interviews. If I'm working Monday through Thursday, I still got Friday to do interviews, and I still got my evening time where once I get my rest and stuff like that, I can be locked in. So think about that. Sometimes life will shift in a way to where it's very uncomfortable, it seems jacked up. But when you can connect the dots, especially when you got that mentality, look at how many other avenues you're creating for yourself. Now that I know how smooth and simple it is as far as keeping updating your security license and everything, why in the hell would I not keep my security license? As much as I love to be outside and love to mingle with people, I'm like, as my guy that was teaching the class told me, he was like, man, DeMarcus, he said, you can really make this a business. He said, man, you got the personality. And he's like, man, you do food too. He said, one thing, oftentimes people will go to spaces and they'll try to figure out how to connect with the person that's running the event or the CEO or whatever. But it's easy for somebody to just get security because security is something that people are always going to need. Everybody wants their event to be secure. It can maybe be a bit harder to try to like convince somebody that they need food. So if you're already talking to having the security conversation, you can easily bring in your food stuff. You can easily bring in other stuff. But that's something that can help you get into the door. I said, man, this is a gold mine. So my thought process is I'm gonna go to my job, do my day to day. I could be in there working on my content, still be applying for corporate roles, find a way to be able to get my sleep schedule together. So if I do get home and have to do an interview early, I can be up, or I can schedule it a bit later in the day. So once I get a good amount of rest, I'll be up and ready to go. Then I still got my evening time because I'm a night owl as it is, so I can focus on my content, work on my beats or whatever, and then keep working that cycle to where things will line up. And then eventually, DeMarcus has multiple sources of income, but then he's created another lane for himself. This was not meant to be almost 40 minutes, but I just got super excited about telling y'all about how you can make an alone season really work for you. I get, in a sense, I'm getting paid to work on my brand. That's how I'm looking at it. When I'm taking that hour commute, the first couple of days, I'm sitting there in my notes drafting up ideas on what type of dessert platters and food platters and stuff I can create if I'm doing events. You got to make your time be worth something. It's not just unless you're tired, like, yeah, you might get some rest on the commute, but I'm like, if I'm up, we can utilize this time for something. So because of me being alone within myself and me being away from a lot of things, I learned how to value my time. I've learned how to utilize my time better. I learned how to make it count more. And I've also learned that I ain't got to stretch myself thin just to be able to make things work. Like sometimes it may sound uncomfortable, but it actually can be even more dope. 2 to 8 part time. Then you have a part time job where you just cooling. Have to walk around a little bit, have to check in from time to time. But you can mainly just be in the booth for however long you need to be. They cool with you, having your electronics or books or whatever. So you telling me that once I get my mind right, like I can't and get things together, like I ain't gonna be locked in? Come on now. So I'm locked in with that. Then I can focus on my so. This is the episode about utilizing and embracing that alone time. Um, I went a bit longer than I had planned to, but I'm gonna have some more videos where I explain this, and I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna even go through re-explaining the whole security thing, and just as far as just the time that I've had in depth. But that's the plan that I've had, and that plan and my thing that I've had in my mind, bruh, it's gonna be different. It's going to be different because the way in which I look at it now is so different. I'm not just looking at it as just like, oh, just getting a security job. I'm looking at it as like, how can I be able to multiply and supplement my income? How can I utilize my personality I already know that I have to be able to expand on something else? If you want to get to an event or whatever, like, what better way than to check and see if they have security? Then some events as well too, like you get a chance to still be a part of the event, and you just got to stand there and make sure people's good. Then people you get people tap in with you and everything like that, and it's like okay, like, and most of the time with security work, anyways, most people have other things that they're doing on the side. So when you having those convos, people ain't even just assuming that you just being a security guard. It's like okay, so is this the only thing you do? Nah, bro, I actually got a whole food brand. You know, I work in tech. Um, I got a podcast. It's like, you're like what? What you do all that? Shoot, man. Actually, I've been looking for people that's I've been looking for somebody that's got some dope desserts and stuff that I can add to my event. I got this big event where I'm out in this area and we rent this out and shoot, man, I would love to have you on board. Maybe we can talk about. Come on, man. That's where my entrepreneur. That's where my dog mentality, if you want to call it. That's where like my brain has just been able to take it to the next level. But people that learn that usually earlier is people like in the projects and the hood environments. Why? Because when they come from nothing, they learn to hustle and how to get it. So that's why like some of our family members that are from those environments, especially my parents, they already learned how to hustle. So that hustle stuff come in early. And so somebody like myself, like I learned how to hustle and stuff earlier as far as like going out and learning how to work hard in certain areas and when it came to school and stuff like that. But like as far as me getting on the ground and making something for my life, like I've been able to learn that a lot throughout my 20s. I ain't never had to sell no drugs and nothing like that. Like I don't come from those environments. But as far as being able to build something and make something out of me, bruh, that's why I'm loving this time. I'm loving this era of being alone. I'm loving this time of just being able to focus on me because the way in which I'm doing it is unconventional. It's not something that's many people would do, but it's allowed me to unlock so many different aspects of me that this it's been undeniable. It's been so beautiful, and I know how it's showing up for me, and I know how I can see ways in which it will, and it don't look sexy. It don't look sexy on the ground. It ain't gonna look sexy on social media. People ain't gonna understand on social media. But as I continue to be able to develop and do what I'm talking about, there's gonna be so many people that's gonna be like, man, how'd you like what how'd you do it in that type of way? Like what was kind of your plan? What's your process? You know what I'm gonna say is I explain all that in the life of a multifaceted. Then come to episode 41, then come to episode 10, episode 15, episode 2, and go back and listen to how I'm explaining about my life. But a podcast for me, that's what this is about. I'm not trying to create something where I'm going out convincing others about this and that. This is the life of a multi. I'm talking about my life. And I'm creating a space for others to be able to share their different types of goals, their different types of their well-being. This is for my people that feel as if they are outsiders, my people that feel as if they are on an island by themselves, the people that feel as if they are misunderstood, the people that are so fucking dope that you don't get the love and appreciation that you feel that you should. But people always is hitting you up and telling you how dope and stuff that you are, but you know that you're the it factor and you don't even try to be that. You're not even someone that's trying to be so much different. You just move in a way where like you live in life vicariously. I got a beat that I made that type of that. Like you live in life like you moving in a type of way where it's like you know that you dope, you're finding your uniqueness, but you're not willing to stay comfortable. You're not trying to stay complacent. So man, this is 45 minutes. Like this is why I enjoy speaking because I'll start going on some rambles sometimes. I'll get super excited and passionate. But I know that as far as like what I'm talking about, as far as for my life, I know that there's depth to it. So shout out to y'all if you got a chance to be able to listen to it all the way to the end here. For the ones that haven't, hey, they're gonna be missing some gems in here. Because when people ask you what you've been up to, when people ask you, how did you do it or whatever, I'm gonna refer them back to these type of episodes later on. Because this is where I get into the deep versions of it. This is where I keep it real raw and authentic. This is where I share parts about me. And so if people ain't necessarily listen to it on the podcast, there's ones that know this about me that tap in with me on a regular basis. Ones where we have conversations like this that's in depth. I'm someone that loves to share different aspects of my life. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. But this is the life of a multifaceted. Shout out to my facetteers and my folks for tapping in. If you found value in this, leave a comment. Tell somebody to follow. Tell somebody to check it out. But this is where we explore different versions of ourselves. And this is where we remove the old versions. It's your boy DeMarcus, and this is the life of a multifaceted. We are out of here.